Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on, well, just the ever-expanding DC Universe reboot that's coming our way. So, one of the rumored projects that was in development at DC Studios, over the past few months, it started to say, oh, this is happening, blah, 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 which also, it's not too big of a shock that it was in the works at the same time because James Gunn had referred to it in the past. Like, of course, it was about a year and a half ago or something like that, but he'd still referred to it, and that is of that of Teen Titans. Not Titans, Teen Titans. So emphasis on the teen, I guess. Now, I think this was first rumored about, I want to say like 2 months ago, like realistically, like there was actually like, hey, this is something that's happening or something like that. Maybe like 2 months ago. It was close to the start of the year at the very least from memory. And well, now it's being reported by the trades, more specifically the Hollywood Reporter. Now, due to the TV show of Titans only wrapping up, I think it was last year. I'm pretty sure it was last year, like midway through last year or maybe just before that, I'm not too sure. People thought there would be a break with this, title or even just some of these characters, like we're most likely going to get with characters like Flash, Aquaman, Shazam, Wonder Woman, and characters like that who only had projects come out recently, whether it was in the form of DCEU or just other live action properties. But that doesn't look like that's the case, at least in the development side of things with Titans. Sure, this movie, or Teen Titans might I say, sure, this movie might not hit the screens for like 4 or 5 years at the earliest, but work has started, which might give a sign on there being plans for some of those other characters I mentioned previously and projects either centered around them or just at least involving those characters. But as I said, this is exclusively being reported by the Hollywood Reporter. Like other places are backing it up now, but it was, exclusively revealed by Hollywood Reporter, and this is what their report had to say. It's go time for the Teen Titans. The DC heroes, which began as the teenage sidekicks of their more famous and iconic counterparts, are getting their own live-action feature from the James Gunn and Peter Safran-led DC Studios. The comic book movie division of Warner Bros. Discovery has tapped Anna Nagira to pen the screenplay for the project. The hiring further ensconces, am I pronouncing that correctly? Hopefully I am. The actress and playwright turned scribe into the DC family, as she is already writing Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow for the label. Now, there was some like more stuff in that article from THR or the Hollywood Reporter, but it was really just going over the history of the Teen Titans and where it started, where it was, and then where it is now. So it's not really worth going over, at least in this video. But as the article does say, the writer for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which it says it's currently being written, like I thought Gunn had said that the movie was written, but maybe they're just, finishing up, final draft, everything like that. But she'll be handling this screenplay for Teen Titans. And we had heard from Gunn himself that he was, pretty happy with how Supergirl was coming along and shaping up. And it was even rumors that it might even start filming by the end of the year if there was a director attached. I don't know. I think if you get to like maybe like May or June and there's no real update there, maybe they might leave that till 2025 before they start, touching that and directing that or making it, might I say, but that's a wait and see. But as you see with other companies and even DC in the past, if someone has done a decent job or is doing a decent job with one project or a couple of projects and is trustworthy, it's not really too surprising that they continue to get either just another gig in that same universe or gig after gig. See it a lot with the MCU and even some of the other franchise stuff as well. So it's not too surprising that's the case. It's maybe more surprising that the Anna Nagira in this case is getting another gig before Supergirl's come out or even been made. So that's maybe the more surprising thing there. But obviously that just shows the faith that they have in her. Now I am making this video a few hours after the announcement, actually more than a few hours, maybe like 6 hours after the announcement or something like that. So I was able to see some of the reactions and responses to this announcement. And I was actually pretty surprised to see a lot of negativity around it. Like obviously I think there was more positivity and sometimes like negativity just makes it like floats to the top just because of how the internet is, unfortunately. But I just saw a lot of negativity around it, which just surprised me. Now Teen Titans to me is something that I thought a lot of would have wanted to see happen, just something that could be fun and a bit wild, but also allow various character development for some of the characters that wouldn't normally get it if they were like, as the Hollywood Reporter article did say, they're just sort of the sidekicks or counterparts, so they're not the focus. But this allows them to have some focus and development and everything like that, which then can lead into other projects or whatever it might be, or just have, more support around them, whatever it might be. Now, one of the criticisms I did see was that Teen Titans, which I disagree with this whole thing, but anyway, they said that Teen Titans isn't a well enough known property within the DC universe. But I think for anyone interested in this upcoming DC universe reboot, they would have watched some form of Teen Titans, growing up. whatever it might be. Like me personally, I grew up with the OG Cartoon Network Teen Titans show, like Teen Titans, that one, like that was like the Japanese anime sort of like influenced one, I guess. And I think most people my age watched that at least in some capacity, whether it was one episode of the entire thing. I mean, if they watched Cartoon Network, at least they probably saw Teen Titans. And then there's, of course, Teen Titans Go. So people like under 20, or more specifically, like under 15 or 16, I guess, would have had to have seen that at some point, especially with the age of streaming and Netflix. I think that's on Netflix and stuff like that. Surely they've seen that. And then there is, of course, the show I mentioned previously, that, of course, being Titans on, like, well, it was in the DC Universe streaming service and then finished up on HBO Max or Max. And, that only just ended recently and people watched that. Like, sure, it wasn't a consistently great show, but it had some decent moments or decent episodes where, I guess people would have still stuck around and watched it and got a familiarity around those characters and what's happening here. But maybe the criticism is just like some skepticism, which I can understand, maybe of like how they'll handle it. That's always like a worry when they handle or they're doing something where people envision it in a certain way and stuff like that. I mean, there's skepticism around Superman, and I'm sure there'll be skepticism around the next Batman movie, like things that people are familiar with and just they have an idea or a vision of how it should be done. And maybe people don't want a cast of 13-year-olds or something like that taking down villains. I don't know. Maybe that's the angle people are looking at it. But I think like the emphasis on teen, we will see like various ages across those teen years from like 12 or 13 up to like 17, 18, 19, maybe even early 20s if they want to push it there. And I will focus on like that side of things with the characters in my possible roster of Teen Titans that could be in this movie a bit later in this video. Now, one thing that is of interest is Batman Brave and the Bold, or just the Brave and the Bold, which whatever that movie is being called. Will that set up this Teen Titans movie? Now, that of course depends if like a character that's meant to be in that movie is in this variation of Teen Titans, which I would assume it would be the case, but I'm very intrigued to see if that's what's happening there. Now, the thing is, Anna Nagira has nothing to do with Brave and the Bold, at least from what we know, has nothing to do there. I don't think they actually confirmed the writer for that movie. Like, the whole thing was that Christina Hodson was rumored for it, but I don't think that was ever confirmed because then the writer's strike happened, so they couldn't confirm it. So we actually don't know what's happening there specifically. But to me, it wouldn't surprise me if I'm thinking of where they're going to go, and I'll explain in my roster, that they do use at least some form of Brave and the Bold to maybe at least hint at Teen Titans happening, if not just flat up set it up. Now, one other question with this whole DC Universe reboot is the context of it, like where are certain people? So because we have the Teen Titans here, and they potentially are going to be using the third or fourth holder of a certain mantle, are the Titans established in this universe with characters like Nightwing, Cyborg, all those characters, and were they previously the Teen Titans? Or is this version we're getting in this movie the first ever group that goes by Titans or Teen Titans as a whole? That's a big question as well. But now we'll get into my possible roster that I like the sounds of. So this is my personal opinion. It's sort of a mixture. One of them is specific. One of the people here is specifically included because I think it's an easy way to transfer something from the DCEU or like mid DCEU or like halfway between there to this new universe. And also I don't think we're going to get like a solo project with this character, at least. So I think putting them in a team where people are already familiar with them works. So the first person is Damian Wayne. So the reason I say this is because Damian Wayne is going to be Robin in the Batman, the Brave and the Bold, or the Brave and the Bold, whatever I call in that movie. And that's what I was talking about in regards to that movie, setting up Teen Titans. I think it's logical. I think it's a logical step that you do that. It almost feel weird if they didn't do it. There are people saying that it should be Dick Grayson's Robin, but Damian Wayne's Robin. So, I mean, do you want Nightwing? And if you get to the point where it's Nightwing, that's just Titans, in my opinion. So I think you're not going to have Nightwing on the Teen Titans. In my personal opinion, you're not going to do that. You're going to have a Robin, and the current Robin at this stage in this universe, if we're basing it off chronologically when these movies come out, and Batman comes out before Teen Titans, then Damian Wayne should be the Robin. So Damian Wayne should be the first on this roster. The second is the person or the character I was referring to earlier in regards to like sort of the transference, and that's Blue Beetle, Harmony Reyes. This just makes sense. I think it just makes sense. He's a teenager. Well, he's not meant to be, but then they might do a bit of like a retcon thing there, and they might make him a bit younger because he just finished university. But I think you can still slot him in here easily, and I think it would work, even if it's just like an entry point. And this is like the only time he's ever a part of the Teen Titans is in this movie, and then he goes off on his own thing after that. The next option is Wonder Girl, but not Donna Troy, but actually Cassie Sandsmark. She's the one that just fits in regards to the Teen Titans thing. But also, depending on like where certain things lie in regards to what they're doing with Wonder Woman and stuff like that, they can allude to the character. but just have her there, and I think that's just a good fit. The next one is like a flip of the coin in regards to how they handle it, because people are going to have different views, and this probably extends to like the universe as a whole and the larger universe outside of it. But I've got Kid Flash. Now people are going to say, well, it should be Bart Allen, so technically it's Impulse, but you can still go by Kid Flash. I think it should be Wally West. I don't know. Kid Flash is one where I think it's probably interchangeable whether you include the character at all, regardless of like which person is Kid Flash, whether it's Bart or Wally. It's up in the air. But I would probably prefer if you had a Flash movie before you did anything Kid Flash with Teen Titans, because I'd sort of want if whoever it is to like sort of be focused in that Flash movie before this. But we don't know. Like this Teen Titans movie, though, it's in development. They might just be getting it prepped and getting it written, and then it might be like, you know, way after, even like some movies that aren't even announced yet. We don't know specifically when it's falling, so you don't want to get ahead of yourselves and just thinking it's dropping in the next 4 years after Batman or something like that. It could be after like, you know, 3 or 4 years after that, so you just have to keep that in mind. And the second last option is actually a duo, and it's not including both of them. It's like, I think it's like you have this person or you have this person. I have Raven or Starfire. Now, though I could see this movie including both potentially, just because when people think of Teen Titans, they do include those two characters. I would include Raven just so like the magical and more like, I don't know, like supernatural, I guess, side is introduced, because by the time this comes out, we'll have Superman, Supergirl, and most likely Lanterns out there that touch upon the alien sort of cosmic side of things. But as I said, it wouldn't surprise me if both are in it. But I think if I'm going to lean towards including just one of them, I'd go Raven, just because he's a bit different than anything else, you know, previously in this universe and in this team. And the final one, it's a personal choice for me. I'd have Speedy, like the Mia Dearden version, or Arrowette, which is Sissy King. I think it's pronounced Sissy King Jones. Arrowette is like a, you know, bit of a like a variant sort of things. Like, I guess people aren't used to it. Most people would go to Speedy, whether it is Roy Harper or Mia Dearden. But I think this is an easy one to put in there. Fits the Teen Titans. It also just depends how much, like how powerful they want the team to be. Like you could take out Raven and obviously specifically Kid Flash, and the team wouldn't be as powerful. It just sort of depends. I guess it depends who they're going up against. You know what I mean? But I think that's a decent roster there, at least for a starting Teen Titans. And even more specifically for Blue Beetle, it's like a vehicle for him to transfer over into this new universe and then go on and do his own thing and whatever it might be afterwards, even if it's with the Titans as a whole with some of the older characters. But yeah, I think this movie is like one that could be a really big hit, especially just depending on how you handle it and sort of like what the tone is and everything like that. And I guess specifically what the age bracket is and what characters you use. But, you know, I think this, as I said, it wasn't a surprising announcement, but it's also a nice one to hear. But it's one of those ones I have to wait and see. Because obviously with Anna Nagura writing it, you want to see how Supergirl turns out, but they haven't even started making it. So obviously we can't see it. So it's sort of like a question mark in regards to her side of things in regards to how this will play out. But we'll have to wait and see whenever that might happen. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it, show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on everything we're going over in this video. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.